Good morning, everybody. Today I wanted to talk to you about the fuel matrix. When you are a primary source of supply, so we're not talking about a fling, we're not talking about a secondary, tertiary, but a primary source of supply. So that means you were in a relationship with an individual, and then you find out that you're not the only one, that there was probably several. And you always suspected cheating, or maybe you, and the lying and all the things that kind of propped up shortly thereafter. And, we call that the mask. When you meet the person, they seem like they're just like you because they're mirroring you back to yourself. Then all of these things unravel, and before you know it, you're a shell of a human being, and you have lost everything, including your vitality, your health, your wealth, and your friends. You can be stripped of house and home with these people. And so I wanted to go over the fuel matrix because I want you to understand a few things. And the first thing I could say is getting away from a narcissist is a true blessing, whether you were discarded or you discarded them. It doesn't matter at this point. The problem is if you feel hurt by it and all of that, you're gonna have to find a way to get over it. And that's why I have this channel. I'll talk about this stuff. But today on the fuel matrix, I want you to understand that if you are a primary source of supply, typically you were a high value empath that was asleep. So as much as I hate to say high value because you're more of a victim then, you're a survivor warrior when you wake up, because you're not going to be allowing that anymore. Somebody to take advantage of you like that. You're going to learn to read the signs and the red flags, and you're going to know to stay away from them. You're going to assert yourself. You're going to have boundaries. You're going to love yourself, for it doesn't matter who it is. You're going to treat everybody the same. There's no respecter of persons here. Meaning, don't give somebody extra chances because you like the idea of them more than, say, other people in the past. In the fuel matrix, if you are the primary source of supply and you feel kind of down and out, you got to understand that you're high value, but you weren't really high value until you woke up to this because you are allowing all this. But when you are that high value empath that was the primary source supply, you are the center of the fuel matrix. They need supply. So the narcissist needs supply, and supply is anything that is validative to them. They get validation from the outside only. And they can never reflect in, and they can never reflect on their own actions. So it's always, kind of their responses from the people out here that kind of govern how they treat others. But the problem is they manipulate that so that they only get the responses that they want to receive. So meaning they build a wall of individuals around them. They build, they call them flying monkeys, because they're like the Wicked Witch and the Wizard of Oz. So those are their worker bees, they're flying monkeys, and they have several love partners that they're never loyal to anybody. They're always cheating and actively, even from the jump of the relationship. So what they do is they build this wall of individuals around them, and that presents to them all of these good validations coming back at them. That's the only people that they will deal with, either people that fear them because that gives them power and control, or people that give them admiration, adoration, and fawning, acceptance, and accommodating them in all ways, and putting them above themselves for the most part. And there's a lot of people that will do that. And a lot of them are put under the spell because they're working with witchcraft, generally speaking. But what you're feeding is you're feeding their ego self, which is their false self. That's this character that they have made, and they call it the mask. So they're wearing a mask, and that is basically built from their ego self, which their ego self runs everything here, and they could never go behind the ego, meaning that's why they can never be alone, because they have this inner peace with their inner self, inner mind. You know how we have our intuition, we have our inner person that will tell us things like things are wrong or you're doing things wrong. You shouldn't be treating somebody like that when you do bad things and stuff like that. So theirs is not operating like that. They tend to only want the admiration, and if not, then you're the enemy, basically. So that's why when they meet you, you kind of come in as a victim, you end up giving them all of this. And they can't generate any energy inside, any fuel. That we have the ability to generate our own energetic self so that we can go out and about and have confidence and security and independence and go out there and enjoy life and smile and get things done and work through hard things that life throws at us. But in this individual, they cannot do this at all. Any of those things, they have to steal this fuel from other people through admiration, fawning, and or fear. And that's how they build this ego up. And the ego is, to mistreat everybody and manipulate everybody into doing things for them. And this is what fuels it. It's all built on fear and negativity and lack. And so when you're the center of the fuel matrix, they need somebody that can generate a lot of fuel and get projected on, which is that like their sacrificial empaths, basically, which is where they'll come home and they'll rage out on you every day. You'll accept all that fuel, that negative fuel. They'll take your fuel and they'll walk out, and that mask will be squeaky clean. And then they build all of this, this army of flying monkeys that work for them, and all these love partners they go get, and all of these, people doing all these things, but they're doing it because they know that they have an anchor empath at home that they can come home to, in between cheating on them, lying to them, manipulating them, and at the end of the day, they hate them deeply in their heart. They absolutely hate you because you have the ability to conduct life, and to conduct life, generally speaking, if you're empathic, with love and with a righteous heart and a pure heart, and you're able to do things. Not to mention, you're actually fueling everything that they're doing. And because your fuel is so pure and so good, they go out there and they build all this whole regiment of, people working for them and all these love partners, but they're building it on the fuel that they get from you. And that's my point. My point is your fuel is so good and so pure and so clean, and you do so much for them that you put them first in everything, absolutely, to where you're almost crumbling while you are doing all this work for them. And then they discard you and they treat you like crap. And they treat everybody out there good. And everybody will never believe you if you were to tell them, because everything happens behind closed doors typically. And then they go out there and they discard you. And then this is the problem. They think that they created all this, but when they met you, they were in the dumps, and they were depressed. They didn't have anything going on for them. And typically they didn't have no glow to them. They were all gray and ashen. And then you come into their life, you spark up life in them. They drain every drop of fuel that you can generate, and including sometimes with some individuals, their house, their home, their everything, their whole life is wrecked. And then they leave and they think that this can be sustainable, like that they did this themselves, because in their ego self, they create all of these fantasies that, they're so awesome, they're godlike, and it's all your fuel that they've manipulated to create all of these friends and love partners to come their way, and family members and all these people working for them and believing the spell. Okay, they got all that because they could come home and throw all of their crap on you every day, and you accepted it unbeknownst to you. Didn't know exactly what was going on, but this is what's been happening. So when they leave you, a lot of times they'll come back very quickly and want you back. And a lot of times the way the spell is they'll get you fiending for them through the trauma bond, the hot and the cold, get your hormones messed up so that you can't be away from them. They want to turn you into codependent to them, when in fact they're codependent to everybody. That's why when they're not with you, they have to be with somebody. That's why they're always cheating as well for supplemental supply, because they're insatiable. You're dealing with that all the time. A lot of times they will cause arguments, mini arguments, so they can go away for a weekend and be with somebody else, a secondary source of supply, and then come back. So that's how they keep all these people in their harem, in their harem garage, we say, these cars parked, so that whenever they discard you, they can go get one of them and just start up another relationship with them, revive that. And that's why they keep up with all their exes. But when they leave or you leave them, their whole fuel matrix disappears, man. And because of their ego self, their smart ass thinks that they can go on and move on and be successful without you. The problem is that you were the one that was fueling that flame that created all that. Now they have nothing you are propping them up, meaning they don't have any gifts. They took all your gifts and they were abusing you, manipulating you, and using your gifts and wearing them, energetically. They knew that you were their form of safety. You were their form of in-house supply every day. You took care of all the work in the house. You're lucky if a narcissist will work a full-time job, and after that, they're going to be focusing on their secondary, tertiary supplies. Outside of that, they don't do any work. That's how things happen, and everything falls apart when they lose their fuel matrix, because they have to, now they're going to act so bad out there that they just can't look good. They used to look like a saint when they had your fuel every day, but they have nobody to throw their crap on because you're not there anymore. That's what they're their in-house trash can, meaning you. They're throwing their trash fuel on and then taking your good fuel and going out and acting right. So now that's what they call us, the in-house, family garbage bin, meaning that we take their garbage trash and they reignite them. We reignite them with our fuel. Literally, it's not no joke. This is spiritual, man. And then they go out and they get all these people to do things for them with our fuel, our blood, sweat, and tears. So the thing is you got to understand that when they come back to you, you have to, you have to revoke them. And from here on out. Now, a lot of times what'll happen is because your fuel was so good that they don't want you to know about it. That's why they isolate you. They don't want nobody else to know about it. No other narcissist, because they'll come running after you too if they know your fuel's that good. And so they are actually very jealous about the things that you do, because they don't want to lose you either. So that's why they're very careful, but they're careful also to make sure that you don't know how valuable you are to them. You are their complete lifeline. You are their Red Cross every day. Okay, and when that Red Cross blood don't show up because you gone, that matrix starts to fall apart, and that's because they have to project on somebody all of the crap. And so if they can't project that negative fuel because they're hiding things, they're lying to everybody, manipulating everybody, stealing from everybody, lying, cheating, stealing. I mean, whatever Satan would do, that's what the narcissist is doing behind everybody's back. And they're using your fuel to make it, to mow it over and to manipulate it to seem as if it's not happening. Okay, it's almost like you're forgiving them of their sins in a weird way. You're not, but it's almost like you're walking around with all of their burdens of their sin, because you're taking their fuel every day and they're taking your fuel every day. And so because you're pure for the most part, they're walking around with pure fuel. Does that make sense? So that's why they look like they do, and they're glowing all the time. And it had the ability to generate and do all this negative stuff. And the karma, or the reaping what they sow, is not really hitting them like, generally speaking, it would hit the average normal human being, because they're wearing your fuel. It's like they're kind of camouflaged in a spiritual sense, in a sense, when they're sucking off you every day, and you're kind of like catching their karma. That's why when they leave you or you leave them, you might be broke, you might be out of house and home, you may have no looks, no energy, nothing, diseases, infections, because you're taking on the brunt of their reaping what they're sowing, and they're taking on the brunt of what you've been reaping. You see, it's almost like they say the narcissist steals everything that you have. Well, they actually even steal your reaping and sowing. I mean, they get all the harvest, and that's why they keep you in the web. They have a web of all their lovers, partners, their family members, their children, anybody that they're using for supply, for that validation and manipulation, and anybody that they're, is involved with them, or you, the center of the fuel matrix, the center of that web. You and them are at the center, and everybody else is connected, but they're connected, and that female narcissist, or if you're a woman, that male narcissist, they are with you in the center of this web here, and everybody out here that's connected to the web, that's working for them, friends with them, when they get their reaping what they're sowing, it hits all of them. That's why anybody connected to them gets part of their karma or reaping what they're sowing. That's why they like to always, when you're about to get away from them, they like to bring you back in, come hoover you, suck you back in to the web, because they need your supply source, but they also know that your good, pure heart and your pure fuel and your reaping and your sowing of goodness, it protects them. It camouflages them when they're wearing your fuel and you're involved with them. It protects them from getting the brunt of their karma or the reaping what they're sowing. And so it shields them a lot of times. That's why we always say that for people that want them to get what really should be coming to them, you have to completely unplug, disconnect, cut ties, everything from them. Only when you get completely out of that web and detach, even emotionally, that's the first place you want to detach, is emotionally. But you want to detach physically, emotionally, spiritually, sexually, anyway, energetically, in every way. That is how, and go no contact, leave them alone, heal, learn to be an individual that loves yourself, independent and away from them, build good boundaries, cut them off completely, and never allow this type of stuff again. That's when their brunt of their karma will nail them. It's not that we need revenge or anything most of the time, but when you first wake up to this, you are angry, man. It hurts a lot, and you've lost a lot. You've put a lot into this, and for the way that you've been treated and the way things occur, it's just, it's not fair, and it really affected every part of your life. So when you wake up, you might be a little hateful, you might be wanting that, but as you heal as an empath, you won't want revenge, because you'll be getting over it. So the initial might be that way, but it's because of that trauma they put you through. But as you break that trauma bond, just by staying away from them, you heal, you'll actually see them in a new light. Typically, when you wake up from what a narcissist has been doing to you, they have this hollowness to them after, and their glow, any glow that they had from your fuel, it's gone. And you just see them as a heartless, soulless, empty, and you see what's facade they're trying to put out, that maybe other people see it, but you don't see it anymore. It's almost like they lost every glow. It's almost like they're a skeleton of themselves. They kind of know that you see them that way. That's why they hate you even more. And that's why when they discard you in the past and stuff, and then would come back, that's why they would hurt you and beat you down the most. Because the ones that they need the most, they beat the hardest. Because when they're gone out doing things and run around with other people, they know that you are high value, and they don't want nobody to get you while they're gone. So if they beat you down hard enough, no other narcissist will want you because you'll be needy. You won't have any fuel to give. You'll be recovering, and you were taught also to be isolated. So you're going to be isolated because they already did that. So as you're recovering, they want you all alone so that you're ready for them when they want to come back. And they want to beat you down so hard, harder than anybody, so that you don't have the confidence to go out and get somebody yourself. So these are the reasons why they do that. But if you go back to them, it gets worse. It gets worse because they're going to, break you down and haul you out, and then you're going to catch more of this reaping, and time, your body can't handle all that physically, spiritually, mentally, psychologically. Your soul is at risk here. And if you wake up to this and you try to go back, you usually never can, but for short little bursts until you actually give it up completely. But you have to know that a narcissist in your life is a curse. It's a generational curse, and it's a curse from the evil one who's sent out to put your light out, and don't allow that. But I just want to help you to understand a little bit about reaping what you sow, how you're connected to them in the web, and why they come back to draw you back in, and how very much important you are to them. That is the deepest secret that they don't ever want you to know. They will never let you go. Even if they have taken 6 months, a year, and you haven't talked to them. This is the thing. The only time a narcissist respects you is when you deny them and when you refuse to talk to them, because they're the opposite of humanity. The more you talk to a narcissist, the more they disrespect you, the less that they want you, and the more sorry of an individual you are, because they know how crappy they are. They know how shitty they are. And they know that anybody that has any kind of common sense, respect for themselves, would never even give them the moment of their time. So when you do, they disrespect you even more. All right? So that's facts, y'all. Just take your car, get in there, grab the keys, or that push button start, and you get the hell out of there and don't ever come back. They will need you, want you. If you think if that's what you were hoping that they would be like, well, wait till you stop. Because when you stop giving them your fuel, that's when they gotta have you. It may take a while because they got all that pride built up, or they're running on some other fuel right now, but it's all gonna waste away, and then they're gonna want to come back, and they can't. When you got to continue to deny them, and even the first or second denial, they still don't let it sweat them. But it's over time. You wait a year, and they won't be able to sleep at night trying to get you back. 2 years, man, they won't be able to live. They won't be able to sleep at all. Most of the time, when you refuse them, they're not used to this as well. So a high value, fuel type empath is what a narcissist wants. And they're hard to find these days because there's a lot of people out there that are narcissists or narcissistic, and they don't give a damn, and they won't put up with that. So if you can give me a like, subscription, thumbs up, love y'all, peace, we out.